Hi, and thanks for joining me today for this conversation about not letting grants stress you out. I want to dig in on something that is near and dear to my heart today. I'm in the middle of teaching grant writing boot camp, and a lot of that is focused on readiness for applying for federal grants. And it seems to be something that there is a lot of stress around because, well, there's a lot of federal funding. In fact, an unprecedented level of federal funding these days. And so, as municipalities and nonprofits and institutions of higher ed, and well, everyone tries to figure out all this federal funding, the big question is, are we ready for federal funding or not? And I don't mean, are we ready to receive? Do we want the funding? Of course, our organizations want the funding. But getting federal funding is not easy. It comes with a lot of hoops to jump through in terms of registration. It requires a lot of organizational capacity to apply successfully and competitively. And in terms of management, after you get the amazing award, yeah, okay, there's a lot to handle there too. So, how do you know if your organization is grant ready or not, specifically for federal grants? There's a lot of opinion that goes into that question for sure. It's actually part of why our team has the GRASP tool at our website for free so that you can take a tool and see, not based on our opinion, but based on our score, are we ready for federal grants or not? So if you haven't taken the GRASP tool, you can do that for free at dhleonardconsulting.com. And when you get your results, if you're thinking about federal grants, my specific recommendation is that you see if your organization scores above a 75 on that tool. That's going to mean you've got a lot of the elements, if not all of them, in place to be competitive in applying for federal grants and have the capacity to manage. It's not a guarantee you'll get the funding. It's not a guarantee it won't be ever stressful, but it's a pretty good indicator related to federal grant readiness. Okay, what's one of the biggest things though that when we get those results that comes in, it's not about registration. It's not about sam.gov. It's not about grants.gov. Those are stressful. They take time, but that's not usually what the gap is. Rather, it's going to be about understanding what are the procurement processes and procedures that we're going to be held to after the fact. And so it's important that your organization be paying attention to how compliant, how OMB compliant are your fiscal policies now? What sort of evaluation mechanisms do you have in place to ensure that you can report on the services, the projects that you're going to implement with the federal funding? Those are the sort of things that are really the weak spot for grant readiness in some organizations that I want you to avoid. So go ahead, take the GRASP tool. As I said, it's free and you'll get a metric that lets you know without opinion, could we be ready or not? And we're here to help. We're here to help answer questions about how it is that you can strengthen your organization's grant readiness so that federal grants are less stressful for you both while applying and once received. Be sure to click like and subscribe so you never miss any of these tips. And don't forget, we are here at DH Leonard Consulting to ensure that grants don't stress you out.